Have you ever looked around and wondered why some people just seem to get ahead financially, almost effortlessly, while so many of us are stuck struggling from paycheck to paycheck, no matter how hard we work? Well, today we're going to dive into Robert Kiyosaki's classic Rich Dad, Poor Dad to really decode the mindset shifts that have literally changed millions of lives. Let's get right into it. So, at the very heart of this book are these two father figures with, completely opposite ideas about money. You've got Kiyosaki's real dad, his poor dad, who was the super educated guy who always preached the traditional path. Go to school, play it safe, get a secure job. Then you had his best friend's father, his rich dad. This guy was a high school dropout who ended up becoming a millionaire, all by teaching a totally different set of rules. And this one contrast right here sets the stage for everything else we're going to talk about. So, what's the trap that poor dad's advice leads to? Well, Kiyosaki has a name for it. He calls it the rat race. And it's this endless cycle that keeps most people financially stuck. And it's all driven by two really powerful emotions, fear and greed. Here's how most of us get caught up in it without even realizing it. Okay, so it all starts with something we know really well, trading our time for money. We go to our job, we put in the hours, and we get that paycheck. And what's the engine behind this whole thing? For most people, it's that deep down fear of not being able to pay the bills. Then, the second that paycheck hits your account, poof, it starts flying right out the door. It's going to rent, to the mortgage, to car payments, credit cards, and, all the new stuff we want. And that's the greed part of the cycle kicking in, that desire for a nicer life, which just leads to more and more spending. And this is where the trap just snaps shut. Because with higher expenses, you're suddenly forced to find a bigger paycheck. So you chase that promotion, you work longer hours, only to find out that your new, higher income is getting swallowed up by even higher expenses. You're running faster and faster on the hamster wheel, but you're not actually going anywhere. That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If just working harder and harder isn't the answer, then what is? Well, Rich Dad's lessons offer a really clear, even if it's a little unconventional, path to escaping that rat race for good. All right, if you only remember one single thing from this entire explainer, please make it this. According to Rich Dad, the single most important piece of the wealth building puzzle is just understanding the basic difference between an asset and a liability. The definition is almost shockingly simple. An asset is just something you own that generates income for you, whether you're actively working or sitting on a beach. Think of it like a little money-making machine that you own. And a liability? Well, it's the exact opposite. It's something you own that costs you money. It's constantly draining your bank account. The problem is, the poor and the middle class, we tend to fill our lives with these things, often thinking that they're assets. And when you just lay it all out like this, the difference becomes so clear. The rich focus their time, energy, and money on buying things from that left column. The rest of us, we spend our money on things in the right column, and we often mistake them for assets. That expensive car? Total liability. That beautiful house with a big mortgage and high upkeep? That's a liability too. The real secret is to use your income to buy assets and then let those assets pay for everything else. Okay, so once you really get the difference between assets and liabilities, you start to see how the rich are playing on a completely different field. Their strategies around business, taxes, even the language they use, it's all designed to build wealth faster. Now, Rich Dad's advice wasn't to just go quit your job. He said to mind your own business. What he meant was while you're earning a paycheck from your employer, minding their business, you should be using that money to build your business. And your business is your personal column of income-producing assets. Here's a huge difference in how the game is played. As an employee, the system is literally set up for you to pay taxes first. You earn money, the government takes its cut before you even see it, and then you're left with the rest to try and live on. Now look at this. Contrast that with how the rich often operate through corporations. A corporation earns money, then it spends it on all of its business expenses, and then it gets taxed on whatever profit is left over. It's a completely legal way to use the tax code to your advantage by spending pre-tax dollars. This simple phrase was Poor Dad's go-to response for almost everything. I can't afford it. It's a statement, and it's a dead end. It just shuts down your brain and makes you accept defeat without even trying to find a solution. But Rich Dad, he taught that just changing this one little question changes everything. How can I afford it? See, it's not a statement, it's a challenge. It forces your brain to start looking for solutions, to get creative, and to see opportunities where everyone else just sees a wall. And all of this reveals a much deeper truth. Building wealth isn't really about spreadsheets and calculators. It's an internal game. It's about how you approach learning, how you deal with fear, and your entire perspective on money and your life. So Poor Dad really valued becoming a deep specialist in one area, but Rich Dad's advice was to work to learn critical life skills. He believed that combining skills, like being great at sales and understanding finance, is way more powerful than just being an expert in one little thing. These skills become assets that nobody can ever take away from you. Oh man, this is a big one. So many people are just too scared to invest or start a business because they might lose money. But Rich Dad taught that failure is just part of the process. You see, the wealthy aren't afraid to fail. They expect to. They learn from their mistakes, they adjust, and they get smarter. That fear of losing is what keeps you from ever having a chance to win. Okay, so we've covered the mindset and the core lessons. So what can you actually do with all this? Let's break down the practical steps you can take to start building your own financial freedom. So here's your roadmap. Just start by educating yourself. Read books, watch videos like this one, and get a clear picture of where your money is going right now. You don't have to go out and buy an apartment building tomorrow. Start small. Buy one share of a stock. Start a tiny online business. But the most important step, just stop adding new liabilities that suck your income dry. And remember, think in decades, not days. Building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. And you know, in the end, it really all comes down to this one simple, powerful question. Are you going to follow the conventional path, working for a paycheck your whole life? Or are you going to take the road less traveled and learn how to make money start working for you? The choice, ultimately, is yours.